How's it going, guys? It is the Max, and you're back for another video. Today we are back for our week 1 match in the MCL, the Master Championship League versus the San Diego Swalots at Jutton. We're gonna be going over our team real quick. We are not gonna have, obviously we didn't have a team prep because I'm not gonna be doing team preps in this league or team builders or I didn't have a draft analysis. So we're just gonna run down through our team real quick that we drafted. Where is rosters? There we go. We drafted Sylveon, Goodra, Crocodile, Heliolisk, Delphox, Dustmore, Keldeo, Alolan Sandslash, Braviary, Primeape, and Mega Venusaur, and our Zmon that we can use Z moves on is Delphox. This is the team that we decided to bring versus Jutton. His team is Lander's Eye, which can only be Sandforce, I believe. Delmise, Kyurem, Umbreon, Magneton, Steelix, Manaphy, Blissey, Magmortar, Meloetta, and Necrozma. And his Zmon is Manaphy. This is the team that we decided to bring real quick. Just go to the summary. Actually, no, we're not supposed to go to the summary. That's bad. We have our Keldeo here. Timid, with the justified ability, obviously, with the leftovers, Calm Mind, Sacred Sword, Surf, and Substitute. This allows us to, Calm Mind and Surf are the only two moves we really need for his team, because we can hit everything on his team for neutral damage, if I am not mistaken, other than the Delmise. Delmise we can hit, and just going through his team real quick. Yeah, the only thing we can't hit for neutral damage. And if I can get a sub up, that'd just be a little bit better, because that's all I really needed. And so yeah, we are running Timid with 204 speed, 252 special attack, and 52 in HP. 252 in special attack, obviously, to put out a lot of damage. 204 speed, Timid, speed creeps, I believe Manaphy. I think speed creeps Lander's Eye. And then we had 52 left over, and so I just put it into HP. Next we have Purple Haze, our Mega Venusaur here. Impish with the Overgrow, obviously with the Venusaur Eye. Power Whip, Knockoff, Earthquake, and Synthesis. Oh shoot, that's not the name I meant to use. Shucks. Well, it's okay, I guess. I don't know if that's the right spread. Let me see something real quick. Is that what the stats should look like? Oh, that's why it's not looking correct. Let me go to this real quick. I want to make sure the stats are correct real quick. Okay, cool. That's what it is. Our Mega Venusaur here. Power Whip, Knockoff, Earthquake, Synthesis. We are running a max defense set. We have 236 in HP. Let me actually make this back down to level 50 now that I know that's correct. 236 in HP, because that gives us an odd HP stat, 4 in attack, 2d2 defense, Impish, 4 in Spadaf, and then 12 in speed. 12 in speed allows us to outspeed his, I believe maybe Umbreon or Blissey. It was like something base 80. That I didn't think he'd run speed investment in, so I decided to put it a little bit in Venusaur to allow us to outspeed it. And then I had 8 left over, and so I put it in defense and attack, 4 in each, and then I just made myself max defense and 236 HP. I decided to run physical because I felt like he was gonna bring a special Necrozma, special defensive one, so I decided to run a physical one. And with this spread, I can hit most things very, very hard, especially with the Power Whip. Next, we have Chris Brown here, our Primeape, Jolly, the Vital Spirit, with the Choice Scarf, Close Combat, Nice Slash, Ice Punch, and U-Turn. I'm going to try to run through this very, very quickly now, because I am taking kind of forever. Jolly, this allows us to speed tie with a Scarf Kyurem, Vital Spirit, a believe, what is that for? Why did I run Battle Spirit? In case he tried to relic someone with Meloetta, and he got to sleep, tried to sleep, put me to sleep. I could stay up. Close combat for stab, obviously. Night Slash for the Necrozma, and then Ice Punch is for the Lander's Eye and the Delmise, although that could also be Night Slash, and then U-turn for initiative. And I'm just running max speed, max attack, adamant, and then 4 in HP. Next we have Sloppy Seconds, our Goodra, adamant with the GUI, with the Assault Vest, Outrage, Fire Punch, Superpower, and Power Whip. Running basically max HP, max speed. It's kind of the same thing with the Venusaur, how there's something that was base 80. I think it's the Necrozma that I didn't think would run any speed, so I ran 12 to kind of like speed creep it. And then I had 4 left over, so I put them, or 8 left over, so I put 4 in defense and 4 in special defense. I put max attack, so 252, and then adamant, and then the rest in HP, giving me 236. Outrage, obviously, for a main stab. Fire Punch for the Magneton and Steelix. Superpower for the maybe the Kyurem, the Umbreon, Magneton, Steelix, Blissey, any of those, and then Power Whip specifically for the Manaphy. So yeah, that's what we're running that. Next we have Crocodile here, Jolly, Intimidate with the Dread Plate, Stealth Rock, Knockoff, Crunch, Earthquake. Stealth Rock's because he is very limited in hazard removal, only Delmise being able to spin. That's his only way of removing hazards, I believe. Knockoff and Crunch. I'm running Knockoff for stab, obviously, and just to get rid of anything's item. Crunch because after I knock off Necrozma's like maybe leftovers, Knockoff is going to be doing too much, but Knockoff and Crunch, both of them can kill a Necrozma. So I decided to run both of those, and Earthquake obviously also for stab. And I can hit anything very hard with either of those moves. The only thing that the only thing that takes both of those is nothing. Everything gets hit with neutral with my stabs. I'm running Dreadplate because I wanted to boost one of my attacks, or my attack, without like using Life Orb or choicing myself or something. So I decided to do that. 244 speed. Jolly that outspeeds one of his base 90 mon. I want to say Kyurem. I don't really remember what it is though. It might be Magmortar or Meloetta. 4 in special defense and 4 in defense because I had 8 left over. 252 attack. To just kind of boost my attack, and then 4 in HP in order to make it odd. Lastly, we have Hentai Dog, or Sylveon, Calm, Pixelate with the leftovers, Hyper Voice, Toxic, Hillbell, and Wish. This is to 1v1 the Necrozma, because I can beat it in a 1v1. Hyper Voice, obviously for stab, Toxic to Toxic, anything on his team to dwindle it down. Hillbell, in case something tries to Toxic or burn our team. And then Wish to keep Sylveon or anyone on my team high. It's going to be special defensive in order to take on some things on his team, such as the possible Lander's Eye, the Kyurem, the Magneton, although we really don't want to, Manaphy, but mostly the Necrozma. And then 212 in HP, 2v2 special defense, and then 44 in HP. What is that outspeed? I want to say Umbreon is with that speed creeps, but I'm really not sure. That's the team we're bringing. I'm going to cut here until we get into the battle, so I'll see y'all then. So here we are with the battle. I wasn't able to live comment, sadly, but I did leave that little part in because I feel like I described the team really well that we brought. But he decided to bring Manaphy, Necrozma, Blissey, Lander's Eye, Steelix, and Delmise. Delmise obviously to spin. And I was thinking, well, maybe, like, there's one of 4 possible leads. Landers to get the fast turn off, the fast U-turn off. Steelix or Blissey or Necrozma to set up rocks. And I was like, well, for 2 of those leads, more specifically the Landers and the Steelix lead, Keldeo does really well in that matchup. And if he decides to lead with Necrozma, I could go straight on to Sylveon. Or if he decides to go lead off with Blissey, or no, go into lead off with Blissey, yeah, I could go into like Venusaur. So I just decided that Keldeo would be my best lead in the situation. I had to keep in mind during this battle that his Zmon was Manaphy, so I had to expect anything. Speaking of Manaphy, he decided to lead off with it, Kate Upton here. And here I decided, well, I could go for a sub because I don't think this thing can touch me too well. Um, Although right as I clicked sub, I realized, oh wait, this thing gets psychic. And so I just decided to sub up because one, instead of taking about the 50% I would have, I only took 25% because the sub took it. And it also gives me kind of a scout. And if he was to hard switch out, I would have a free sub up. So that allows me to see that he does carry the psychic more, most likely for the Mega Venusaur, but he does carry it on there. So I decided to switch out here into our special defensive wall, Hentai Dog, our Sylveon, just to eat up the psychic, see what he wanted to do, and he decided to just click psychic. And from this I could see that he was probably about max attack timid. I want to let you guys know that we did DC at one point, and I'll explain as to why that is why it was kind of important within this matchup, and how it kind of helped me. He decided to go for the U-turn, which I did not expect, because I didn't even think Manaphy got U-turn, but he decided to go for it, and he goes into the rock. And I was going to click Toxic on this thing, but I realized that he could swap into this thing, because it is a very good option and switch in for my Sylveon, so I decided to rather go for the Wish, to see what he wanted to do. And here I decided, well, I can start setting up with Keldeo here, so why not go into Keldeo to try and start setting up a little bit in this thing's face, because I know it can't do much to me. Here he's going to start setting up rocks, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that, because everything on my team either takes it neutrally or resist it, like it doesn't do a lot to me. But here I decided to swap out, knowing that he can't do too much to me, and he goes into Kim Jong, then a Krozma. And I go for a Calm Mind here on his swap, bringing me up to +1. And here I'm like, well, I can lift a Psychic from this thing easily, thanks to this +1 special defense, and I can 2-hit KO with a Surf, no matter his spread. And I went for a Surf here, and this is where we DC'd. I went for a Surf, we did about 75%, and he goes for the Psyshock. And as you see here, I managed to live on 3. I think it was maybe 12 or 8 in the actual game, or when we first played. But that was a roll in our favor, about a 60% roll. But he said that it was a huge roll in his favor when we were recreating it, meaning that telling me that he was modest, meaning that he didn't really have any speed, meaning he was a bulky attacker, and that's what I got out of it. Even though in the end it didn't matter, because he decided to stay in and just sack off his Necrozma, one of the biggest threats that I had, that he had, in my opinion, versus him. But he lets it go down to a Surf. Keldeo picking up the first kill of the season. He's gonna go into Delmise, and I can switch into rocks one more time, so I decided to save myself, because being as fast as I am, I can outspeed anything on his team, and I can hit it with a hard either Sacred Sword or Surf. So I decided to swap into my Fizdef Venusaur as he goes for the Shadow Claw. He doesn't want to stay in because he can't touch me too much, so I decided to go for the Mega, and I decided to go for the knockoff to knock off maybe an AV he has. No, I go for a Synthesis. I didn't go for the knockoff. I go for a Synthesis here, because that Shadow Claw did do a good amount of damage. I couldn't really make out the set he was, like, even at the end of the game. Like, he was running some weird spread when it comes to his IVs. But here, I decided to swap because I did not want to take a Psychic. So I decided to go into Musketeer here, because I was expecting a Z move here, a Z move Psychic, the Shattered Psyche, and that was going to do a lot to me, and I couldn't kill with the Frenzy Plant. So I just decided to swap, and he actually ended up going for a U-turn, just killing my Musketeer there. But that allows me to get the initiative. He goes into Randy Orton. I know nothing about this thing at the moment, so I decided to go into Sloppy Seconds, because I can take 2 Earth Powers from him, and I can kill him with 2 Outrages. So he's going to go for the U-turn here. It's going to do a solid amount. I'm going to get the GUI off. It's not going to matter too much. Why is this lagging so much? I don't even know. But he decided to swap out, indicate Upton here, and this is kind of a bad thing, because As you'll see here, although it does do a lot, this thing is able to outspeed me. It doesn't. That's not the bad thing though. He decides to go for the U-turn, bring me down even further to 69 damage, about a third of my health, and my although I am able to wish into it, it's going to be a lot harder to switch it in because of the HP it's at. Here, I go for the second outrage because I'm locked in, and unfortunately, I am locked in for a third turn of outrage for once. Like the one time I don't want to be locked in for a third turn, I'm locked in. So I end up hitting him twice for about 25%, leading me to believe he's a defensive set. He just goes for the EQ here, and it's going to be able to take out. No, he's not taking out my Goodra. He is able to bring me down to 2 HP, but I decided I can't switch into rocks anyways. I have no way to get rid of rocks, so I'm just going to stay in and go for the superpower. Luckily, I do not hit myself with confusion, and I'm just able to do about 50% to it, more or less, and just bring it down very, very much. He decided to go for the save toxic in case I tried to swap, because I'm going to die this turn anyways to toxic. So yeah, we are currently down 5-4, I believe, at this point. He lost his Necrozma, and we have lost our Goodra and our Keldeo, two of our most offensive threats. But I decided to go into Purple Haze here, and I decided to go for the knockoff because I can't kill this thing with an EQ. Anyways, and even I did get a crit, and it turns out he went the Shucka, so even if I went for an EQ, that wouldn't have been good. Here I'm doing damage calcs, and I'm realizing that if he sends in Manaphy here to go for the Psyshock, or not the Psyshock, the Psychic, or the Z Psychic, I'm gonna be taking a good amount from it. So I really am trying to get myself up to the point where I can take one, and then synthesis off and synthesis Psalm a little bit, so that I can start going for Frenzy Plants. But the EQ is doing just enough to put me into where the roll is in his favor to kill me with the Z Psychic, which I don't even know that he has at the time, but I'm just like, that's what I feel like he's gonna have, because he can't hit me with an Ice Beam. But he decided to go into Kate Upton here, and I decide here that I do not want to take it because the roll is in his favor. So I decide to swap out Purple Haze and go into Hentai Dog, our special defensive Sylveon, as he here decides to go for the Z Psychic here, the Shattered Psyche coming out from the Manaphy into my special defensive Sylveon. This Manaphy is very, very angry at me. I'm glad I didn't stay in. I knew there was a good chance he was going to have it. You're going to see here that it's going to be doing a lot. This is very strange, though, that, right here where you would expect it to lag the most, it lagged very little. But it's whatever. I'm going to go for the leftovers here. And, yeah, you see now it lags now, but, it didn't lag whenever you actually went for the Z move, probably the most laggy part of it. But I just decided to get Wish up here because I am kind of getting a little bit weak throughout all these turns. And I believe, or he went for a Scald. And I believe here I just decided to go for he goes for the U-turn onto my Sylveon. Not doing too much. I stayed in because I really need to get my Sylveon up again because it is kind of walling this thing, so I need to keep it as healthy as possible. He decided to go into John Cena here, as I went for the Hyper Voice like I thought, and it's only going to do about 20%, which I honestly, I don't know, I think he was AV, max HP, and then he had some special defensive investment on top of that, which is very, very interesting, but it's whatever. I'm going to swap out here into my Purple Haze because, I'm Fizz Def and I can wall this thing, and being able to, if I can knock off that AV, it's going to really help me a lot. But he decided to go for the Anchor Shot. My freaking thing is lagging a lot right now for some reason, but it does a good amount. It does about half, I promise you guys. It's doing a good amount. I'm really hoping it freaking hurries up. But he here decides to go for he decided to swap after going for the Anchor Shot as I synthesized up. He went into the Manaphy, which was a very weird switch, and I guess seeing he predicted the knockoff. I think I'm just going to have to post, or the audio is not going to be synced up. Not the audio, but the thing. the video. He's gonna go for the Psychic though, and he's gonna get the special defense drop, which really sucks. Because now I can't stay in. But I went for the Power Whip, and I was just able to kill here. So down the Manaphy goes. This is actually gonna be. I'm probably gonna have to put in the recording afterwards. But here, he decided to go for the Earth Power, and I thought even at -1 in special defense, I would live, and I could just synthesis up a little bit. But he ends up just killing me with an Earth Power, and here, I decided to go into Hentai Dog here, because it is my special defensive wall. And he decides to just go for another Earth Power. There's someone at my door. I'm hoping my brother gets it. But he's going to do a good amount with an Earth Power. And sorry for your things in the background. But I just decided to go for a Wish here. And that's my dog barking at whoever's at the door. But he's just clicking Earth Powers. And I managed to live on 6 HP with Hentai Dog, and I just go for the Hyper Voice here to get off some damage onto this thing, doing about 50-60%. Even with no attack investment, I'm still doing a lot with Hyper Voice. But yeah, I'm getting myself a little bit back up. I think here, what did I do? I swapped out into the my Crocodile here, and I was just going to sack it off, I believe, because at this point, I really don't need it too much. He decided to go for the U-turn, which is going to do about half, more or less. And here you see the Life Orb, and I don't know why it didn't show the Life Orb a second ago. Does it not show Life Orb whenever you kill him on now? I'm not sure. He decided to go into this thing, though. I decided to swap out into my Sylveon, because I knew that I could beat it 1v1, because I have Toxic, and even if he wanted to Toxic me, I could Heal Bell it off. But he decided to go for the Protect here to show what I was going to do. And basically this is kind of the main point in the game where everything kind of goes down, because I decided to go for a Wish here, and it basically became a 50-50, because he also goes for a Wish, and I'm thinking here, like, well, I need to swap. If he goes into Delmites here, then I really want to get into Crook so I can knock off. However, if he wants to go into Landers, I really want to go into Primate, because now I know it's not Scarfed, and I can Ice Punch it. So it became a 50-50 at this point. And here I decided, well, even if he goes into Lando here, knocking off its item would be very helpful, because then it can allow my Sylveon to take it a little bit better, since it doesn't have the Life Orb anymore. So that's what I decided to do. I decided to go into Crook, as he decided to swap himself into his Delmice, which really helps me. So now I'm up. I'm doing really, really good. Hentai Dog, Wish comes in, as well as the Blissies. And at this point, I know that I can OHKO with a knockoff to this thing, since it doesn't have Colbur, based on the damage Hyper Voice did to it earlier in the game. So I'm able to just OHKO it with a knockoff. And I do a knockoff, it's a V. Now he goes into Randy Orton, the Lander's Eye, as he just goes for Earth Power. I know I can live one Earth Power from this thing. However, he ends up getting a critical hit on me. But at this point, it doesn't matter, because if anything, that just lowered the diff, because I just go into Chris Brown here. I know he's Life Orb, so I know I outspeed since I'm Scarfed, and I'm able just to click Close Combat here and just win the game. I should have been a 3-0 if he didn't get the crit, because I would have killed with a knockoff, and then I could swap into Sylveon and stall it out, or go into Primate Pier and Close Combat it, and it would have been a 3-0 in my favor, but instead it just ends up being a 2-0 for me. I just keep clicking Close Combat. He's kind of stalling it out a little bit. He's going for Protect and stuff, but it's okay. So we end up beating Jutton week 1, putting ourselves in a good spot. I believe next week we face Foxy and the Atlantic Ninetales, or no, the Antarctica Ninetales, I believe, who I believe also won their week 1 match. Let me see. I'm gonna try to pull it up in the meantime. If it'll load. Please load. Yeah, you see, I'm gonna kill the Chansey here as he tried to get the overprotect off. Like, there's no point in stalling at this point. I don't know why he kept doing it, but here I'm just gonna outspeed Chris Brown, and I'm just gonna go for the close combat, and I'm gonna pick up the win 2-0 over the previous Season 1 champion. Although there was no battle, it's okay though. GG to Jutton. His stuff will be in the description below. Like I said, we face Foxy very, very soon, and she has a very, very good draft. She definitely, I feel like, has the advantage over us when it comes to the prep. So yeah, when it comes to like team matchups, because I had a very hard time prepping this week versus her. Let me see real quick. MCL. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, please hit that like button if you did enjoy it, and make sure to subscribe for more league content, as I'm going to be uploading a bunch of league content. About half of my content, 4 days a week, is going to be about leagues. So make sure to go check it out in the description below. Doesn't seem the MCL doc is loading. I do believe she is, however, 1-0. I may be wrong, but anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, but anyways, guys, this has been the Chain Max. I'm out. Peace.